2019 Ferrari Portofino convertible review. The Ferrari Portofino is often a high-performance convertible having a folding metal roof that's an instantaneous replacement with the California T. Its main competition is available in the form on the Porsche 911 Turbo Cabriolet, Bentley Continental GT convertible and a couple of Mercedes models, the SL plus the AMG GT Roadster. How fast will be the Ferrari Portofino? As was ever thus with Ferraris, the engine may be the big news here. This 3.9-litre V8 twin-turbo motor develops 600 horsepower, 40 horsepower greater than the California T, and 760 Nm of torque, revving all out to 7,500 revolutions per minute for just a 0 to 62 mph sprint of 3.5 seconds. Top speed is claimed to get over 199 mph, creating this one of a handful of 200 mph convertibles. That engine is bolted for the same 7-speed F1-style dual-clutch gearbox just as the California T, while its 20-inch alloy wheels sit facing standard carbon ceramic brakes. A new electronically assisted power steering system features the first time on this kind of Ferrari, and our initial tryout indicated that it feels highly accurate and responsive, helping highlight a lot more lighter-weight kind of the Portofino in contrast to its predecessor, the California T, that was 80 kilograms heavier. Another new feature could be the exhaust, which features electronic valves that close and open to adjust its volume with respect to the situation and exactly what the driver desires. Warm-up is much more muted, while it'll really commence to sing in the event you flick the Manettino exchange signal of sport. Other Ferrari technologies carry over on the California T model, like the electronic rear-limited slip differential and magnetic adaptive suspension. These have been further honed with the Italian firm's engineers to provide even more impressive performance. Is the Ferrari Portofino more practical versus the California T? Officially billed like a 2+2-seater, the Portofino is really a two-seat fancy car first and foremost, since the rear seats are simply just really well suited for small people for very short distances, but there is often a pair of ISOFIX child seat points back there. However, the retractable hardtop is now operate for the move, and takes 14 seconds, helping to make this Ferrari more practical than its predecessor. On surface of that, maximum boot capacity is continuing to grow to 292 litres, which Ferrari claims is sufficient for 3 cabin bags while using roof up or 2 from it down. We're just about so sure on that aspect from first inspection, but you'll be capable of order some custom-fit Ferrari luggage that ought to slot in it nicely. What's new contained in the product? The Portofino has the 10.3-inch touchscreen multimedia system we first sampled inside the GTC4 Lasso, which is supplemented by way of a new touchscreen passenger display, with either in a position to control the songs playing from the cabin and also displaying driving and navigation information. There's some much thinner front seats, too, which apparently unlock a supplementary 5 cm of rear legroom. There still isn't a lot of space behind the leading seats, though. Powerful turbocharged V8 engine. Smooth and quick twin-clutch gearbox. Sport and comfort drive modes. As you'd expect from any Ferrari, certainly one of the Portofino's highlights is its performance. The engine is essentially the same turbocharged 3.9-litre petrol V8 we know on the outgoing California T. Even so, the firm's engineers have changed several components and inside process boosted output by 40 horsepower for just a nice round 600 horsepower. This is copied by a considerable maximum torque production of 760 Nm available between 3,000 and 5,250 revolutions per minute in 7th gear. In lower gears, torque is bound to ensure optimum traction. All that punch is fed by having a 7-speed twin-clutch gearbox that automatically works in automatic mode, though the driver is competent to manually control shifts anytime via paddles for the steering column. Just how quick could be the Ferrari Portofino? Anything, very. It isn't quite from the same performance ballpark as the greater focused supercars in Ferrari's lineup, including the 488, 812 superfast and lane Ferrari, but which has a 0 to 62 miles per hour duration of 3.5 seconds, 0 to 124 miles per hour in 10.8 seconds, and also a top speed of a lot more than 199 miles per hour. It'll easily outrun the vast majority of cars for the road. But it's how this power is delivered which enables the Portofino seem like a true Ferrari. For a start, the engine note sounds a great deal more aggressive and harmonious compared to the standard California T, and its fashionable demonstrable improvement within the HS handling special version of this car, which featured an aftermarket exhaust for more theatre. You'll be disappointed in case you've ever driven a non-turbo Ferrari though. The turbocharger, vital to lessen emissions and improve fuel economy within this modern world, causes it to be impossible with the engine to essentially sing just like the 458, which includes an engine that is certainly among our reviewing team's favorite sounding in recent history. However, the truth that the motor revs all the way in which to 7,500 revolutions per minute can also help drivability, together with the noise and associated thrust increasing them anyway on the red line. We were capable to discern noticeable extra flexibility on this engine weighed against its performance within the California T. Ferrari claims 5% more performance in the rev range, and now we have no reason to dispute this. You're able to regulate the character from the engine and gearbox using Ferrari's Manettino control around the steering wheel, allowing the trucker to switch between comfort and sport modes according to their preference. In the former setup, the Portofino is very docile, in a position to potter about with aplomb on account of a softer throttle response and smoother gear shifts. Dial up to Sport plus the changes become quicker plus more abrupt to accompany the enlivened engine response. But don't forget, because jelly bean shaped feature need to be clicked into place, it won't default to comfort if your car's put off. Light steering is really a bonus out, but it restricts the fun when from it. Sportier S creates a slightly better fist of things. Rivals like the Mini Hatch along with the Audi A1 are better plus more engaging to drive compared to the Vauxhall Adam. Even the large most city-centric buyers will like the light steering. Lacking feedback takes each of the sense of enjoyment from keener drivers. Through the corners if you don't or no lean when driving enthusiastically, but thanks for the lack of information through the steering you don't ever feel truly at one using the car. Cars specified with 17 or 18-inch trims come using a sport chassis as standard, and it is meant to provide the car crisper steering. Unfortunately, all it gets can be a firmer ride as an alternative to sweeter handling, so expect being jolted about more. Vauxhall has engineered the Adam having a UK-specific steering system that's been tuned for much more twisty, lumpy British roads. In truth, you'd be hard-pressed to share with. Such could be the vagueness of that communication together with the driver. Things undoubtedly are a little better together with the Adam S. That's much better to hustle around, since that not enough feedback prevents it from truly sating the driver inside the manner a rather larger Fiesta ST does. Small cars ought to be as much fun to push as they are to think about, nevertheless the Adam simply isn't. Driver-focused controls. Slick multimedia system. High-quality materials. When you're sat within the Portofino, there's undoubtedly you're inside a Ferrari. The driving position is very useful, offering an excellent view on the long bonnet but a low slung seat that assists make you feel part on the experience. The cars we've tried so far are already decked out that has a multitude of optional extras, that makes it tough to assess the normal cabin, but a few cars will leave the factory like this anyway. This is really a car that's built being personalized, and our experience up to now has been considered one of high-quality materials in most places imaginable. Multimedia within the Ferrari Portofino. This is dominated because of the 10.3-inch touchscreen inside dash, which displays slick-looking and intuitive graphical menus that seem to be very up-to-date. We found its processor, that's been upgraded with this unit, still struggled somewhat when zooming in and out of sat-nav maps and flicking between menus, which can make to get a frustrating experience since you wait for it to trap up. We hope Ferrari can fix this, therefore it works using the same amount of performance because Portofino's driving dynamics. One very neat option could be the passenger display, whereby your left seat occupant gets their very own touch screen and is capable to view navigation, trip computer, performance statistics from that drive, as well as change the songs that's playing. We sure won't cause many arguments. Magnetic suspension pays dividends. New thinner front seats impress. Roof up cabin refinement excellent. You may well not expect a Ferrari to become particularly comfortable, but that's untrue here. The Portofino may be designed first and foremost to be a Grand Tourer GT, which means its remit is covering serious miles in comfort. That optional magnetic suspension does a fantastic job of bathing in bumps and imperfections on even heavily rutted and potholed roads substantially comfort. But even in the event you feel like dialing up the using sport mode, there's a button within the steering wheel to soften the suspension in order that remains in a more corsetting setting. This, Ferrari calls, bumpy road mode. We found the 18-way electrically adjustable seats, that happen to be 20% thinner than inside California T, to be over-comfortable enough that you run out of fuel before any pains and aches begin to from. The cabin is well insulated from wind together with the roof down, as long since you keep the windows up. With the top up it's quieter in that room, along with the dark roof lining helps it feel just a little more compact, however in essence it really ends up feeling just like a hardtop car. You won't locate a standard car. Loads of optional extras. TaylorMade takes it one step further. There ain't trim levels consequently here. Instead, Ferrari expects that almost all of Portofino's is going to be built to buyers' individual specifications. That's why the normal kit looks sparse for any car of the type. It's a blank canvas where to make your very own mark. Ferrari Portofino, standard equipment. The following is often a rundown with the items you get for the basic car. Carbon ceramic brakes. Launch control. Manettino exchange signal of control drive modes. Cruise control. LED headlights and tail lamps. 20-inch alloy wheels. Aircon. Automatic lights and wipers. Front and rear parking sensors. Keyless ignition, with engine start button on controls. Tire repair kit. Car cover. Electric front seats. Rear seat folding system. Ferrari Portofino Multimedia Systems. As standard, the Portofino is sold with twin 5.0-inch screens with the analog rev counter for that instrument panel before the driver. This provides driving information alongside navigation and audio details. The main infotainment system includes a 10.3-inch touchscreen with integrated sat-nav, USB jack, Bluetooth connectivity and DAB radio. Ferrari Portofino, optional extras. This is when it gets interesting. Your Ferrari salesperson will manage to help you dig through the options to search for the right spec in your case. Available from launch, it is possible to pick on the following. Dual mode magnetic suspension. Brake calipers inside a variety of colors. Carbon fiber ducts, air vents, front spoiler, sill covers, cup holder, really, wheel caps and controls, with or without LED shift lights. Ferrari badge emblems on front quarters and embroidered in front headrests or floor mats. 20-inch forged alloys within a variety of finishes. Exhaust pipe finishes in black or chrome. Colored seatbelts. Contrasting stitching. Leather or carbon fiber with the central tunnel. Aluminium or wide rev counter. Color requests for A-pillar and or controls. An assortment of paint finishes, including a number of Ferrari's historic motor racing hues. Apple CarPlay. Cornering headlights. Protective film for paintwork. DVD changer. Fire extinguisher. Garage door opener. Parking camera, rear or back and front. Passenger information display. upgraded speaker system. Ferrari tailor-made for the Portofino. If you're as soon as the ultimate in personalization while retaining full factory and Ferrari dealer support, then you'll desire to investigate tailor-made. This snares you your individual designer who'll make suggestions through 3 bespoke programs being offered: Scuderia, using racing-derived styling, parts and materials; Classica, determined by classic GT Ferraris of yore; and Indicia, allowing the buyer more freedom to test out colors and materials to their personal taste. Ferrari cars aren't tested by Euro NCAP, so there's no star rating to base the Portofino's safety performance on. However, all cars get this kit as standard. Carbon ceramic brakes, advanced stability and traction control systems, front airbags for driver and passenger, side airbags, tire repair kit, no spare, tracker, front and rear parking sensors, alarm and immobilizer. Ferrari Portofino driver assistance technology. You don't get anything past standard cruise control here, understanding that's hardly surprising. Ferraris are with regards to you driving, not the automobile. Boot isn't just what exactly you'd call huge. Ski hatch useful, much like parking aids. Rear seats have isofix but adults won't fit. The Portofino has a lot more than enough space for 2 6-feet-tall adults inside the front, but while Ferrari claims there's 5 centimeters more legroom and side rear, we found the top seat backs were way too close to your back perches to support another set of 2 humans. These seats are much better suited to carrying items, for instance shopping bags, on account of their somewhat concave shape. Will the Ferrari Portofino easily fit in my garage? It is actually a 600 horsepower fancy car, but the Portofino is undoubtedly an approachable vehicle that may be simple to park, but only once you've mastered the driving controls. These are unusual when you're utilized to cars using their companies, because reverse is selected utilizing a button within the central console, and you also need to use a shift paddle to decide on first gear again afterwards. However, standard front and back acoustic sensors along with a reversing camera make maneuvering easy work. Will my luggage fit inside Ferrari Portofino? The boot's not the last word in caverniousness and often will fit some cabin-sized bags using the roof up. Take the top down, which hampers luggage room considerably. Also steer clear of operating the roof about the move should you're carrying loose items from the boot, as they could get blown about by turbulence and potentially even lost. There's a hatch from the rear seats, make it possible for loading of longer items, for example skis, but we're not convinced you'll squeeze your entire kit to get to trip for the mountains inside boot. It'll must occupy a corner seats instead.